So we have some more news coming out of Bound for Glory and Kylie Rae's absence from the Bound for Glory card this past Saturday. Now, Kylie Rae was pulled from Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory pay-per-view this past weekend. It left Su Yung to step in the Knockouts Championship match against Deonna Purrazzo, in which she won and became the new Knockouts Champion. Now, Deonna Purrazzo during the show responded to the apparent no-show by Kylie Rae, issuing an open challenge, which then led to Su Young's return to the company. But Brian Alvarez from the Wrestling Observer, Figure 4 Online, reported after the show and in the moments after the show and in the days after the show that Kylie Rae had suffered a, quote, non-serious injury and that Impact was aware of this injury. The same outlet, however, was then told later on that this wasn't the case. Now, Fightful has reported that talent were not made aware of the injury even if the office knew of one. Several wrestlers who drove to the pay-per-view with Kylie Rae on Friday confirmed to Fightful that indeed she was in Nashville for the show. This contradicts a previous report stating that Kylie Rae wasn't even in Nashville for the show. Fightful has confirmed that Kylie Rae indeed was in Nashville for Bound for Glory. Now, by all accounts, Kylie Rae was asking about call times for Saturday as well, but she failed to appear for the event when required. Now, per the report, concern for Kylie Rae grew throughout Saturday, with Impact then making the decision to replace Kylie Rae with Su Yung in the afternoon. Wrestlers who attempted to contact people close to Kylie Rae were informed she was, quote, alive and well, but no further information has been made public since then. Now, according to another report from PW Insider, Impact chose not to comment on the situation out of respect for Kylie Rae. But as I mentioned, Kylie Rae, she missed Bound for Glory on Saturday after being promoted to the show. In fact, she was promoted for the show for her match against Deonna Purrazzo right up until the match took place in which Su Yung replaced her. Now, yet another report has come out. So many reports are coming out about this, and so many are offering different information, contrasting information. Dave Meltzer, in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer Radio, offered some more information about the situation when it comes to Kylie Rae and her absence this past weekend. He confirmed, like Fightful had mentioned, that Kylie Rae was in Nashville on Friday, and as of Friday, she was expected to work on the Bound for Glory pay-per-view on Saturday, but by all accounts, according to Dave Meltzer, she never showed up. She didn't give an explanation for her absence. She said that she said that she wouldn't be there. She, quote, just disappeared. So as the show continued, Impact officials assumed that she would eventually show up, but they couldn't find her. That's why the situation was never mentioned prior to Su Yung coming out to replace her. That's why we never got a social media post saying the match had been cancelled. That's why we never got a storyline or an angle involved, because the Impact officials genuinely didn't really know the situation when it comes to Kylie Rae. Now, by all accounts, according to Dave Meltzer, one of the reasons they didn't say anything, they being the Impact officials, or make up a storyline reason for the absence of Kylie Rae, was that if something bad had happened to Kylie Rae, it would reflect badly on the company, so they just decided not to address her absence or anything like that. Now, he did mention that she was said to be, quote, physically fine when contacted after the show. So, as you can tell there with those reports, we're getting reports from Fightful, PW Insider, Dave Meltzer, Brian Alvarez, getting reports she's injured, then she's not injured, she was in Nashville, then she wasn't in Nashville, or she wasn't in Nashville, then she was in Nashville, getting reports that physically she's fine and Impact officials expected her to show up, but she didn't show up, people couldn't find her, she is alive and well. It's so confusing. This whole situation when it comes to Kylie Rae at the moment is really, really confusing. Now, I must say that I did a video coming out of Bound for Glory on the way that Impact had handled the situation, and that I said that this whole situation at the time reflected badly. And to be honest, I think my opinions on that, and this probably reflects badly on myself, to be honest, was swayed by the report by Brian Alvarez, who came out and said straight away that she was injured. And by all accounts, that information was incorrect. She wasn't injured. More details have since come to light since then, and it didn't look good. It really didn't look good for Impact Wrestling. It didn't look good that they were aware of the situation and they advertised the match anyway, but different situations have been made to light, have come to light since then. It appeared at the time that Impact knew that Kylie Rae wasn't going to be appearing and yet promoted the match until the last minute. But this new information that has since come to light, it appears that, to be honest, Impact officials and Impact Wrestling, they were just as in the dark as all of us. And this was a super last minute situation, and they shifted plans to have Su Yung return. According to one report, they made the decision in the afternoon. According to another report, they weren't sure about Kylie Rae's status even when the show was going on. So I think, from my point of view, the criticism that I levied towards Impact officials was probably too harsh there, because it's a really unenviable situation, because I don't think they knew what was going on. I think they were as confused as the fans about what the situation was. The reports are stating now that Kylie Rae isn't injured, and she doesn't have an injury regardless of how serious it is, so that's positive, that she hasn't suffered an injury. I think what's more concerning here is the fact that Kylie Rae wasn't injured. She travelled to Nashville for Bound for Glory. She even asked about call times, when am I meant to show up at the arena, etc. And by all accounts, according to Dave Meltzer, she just didn't show up. She, according to Dave Meltzer, just, quote, disappeared. I think that's very concerning. I think it's very confusing. I think there are some things that people could speculate about, but I think this is a really difficult thing to talk about, and you can tell I'm kind of stuttering on this because it is a really difficult thing to talk about, because I really don't want to speculate. I don't want to suggest things happen that aren't the case, and I don't want to suggest things that aren't the case when it comes to Kylie Rae right now. What I will say is, look, we know Kylie Rae, it's been made public by her and by other people. Kylie Rae has had some battles with mental health. It was a reason why she requested her release from AEW, and her departure from AEW did have to do with that. She's been open about it in interviews she's done with numerous outlets. I don't know if that's linked to what happened on Saturday. Again, I don't want to speculate on that. I don't think that's fair to speculate on that being a reason as to what happened on Saturday. It's not fair to jump to conclusions. It's not fair to speculate until we know more details. It's not right to suggest that this is the reason why she missed Bound for Glory. This is the reason why she travelled and she didn't show up. This is the reason, etc., etc. I don't think that's fair. We have to go with the details that we know right now. And according to the reports, and there have been a lot of them, it's been a case of she was in Nashville, she's not injured, she just wasn't there at the Bound for Glory event on Saturday, even though many people expected her to be. So it's just a really, really confusing and odd situation. It really is. And we're learning more and more about it every day and every coming hour, it feels like. There was no injury. She did travel. Impact Wrestling officials and talent assumed that she would show up, but they couldn't find her. She didn't show up to the building. And as it was mentioned in those reports, Impact didn't want to make up a reason for the absence or come up with a storyline explanation as to why Kylie Rae wasn't there in case something bad had happened to her. And I think that's wise from Impact there. I think initially it looked like they just ignored it and they promoted it anyway, but I think in reality, what could they have done? It's a really unenviable position for them. It really is, and I think they did the best that they could do, given the really difficult circumstances. It is a totally unenviable position for Impact Wrestling, and I sympathise for everyone involved here, because it's a really difficult and delicate situation to deal with. Now, of course, according to those reports, Kylie Rae is, quote, physically fine. Those reports from PW Insider, etc., mentioned that she was physically fined, but I think you have to notice there the word physically. And again, that would lead one to go to the conclusion about the mental health side of things. Again, I don't want to speculate on that. I don't think that's fair. But it is a very confusing, a very, very confusing, and a very sad situation, to be honest. It's always horrible to hear that anyone is going through what appears to be some form of an issue here. And again, I don't know specifically what the issue is, but there obviously is an issue going on. If there was no issue, Kylie Rae would have been there on Saturday and she would have competed at Bound for Glory for the Knockouts Championship. She wasn't, so there is obviously a situation or an issue there that prevented her from appearing and competing on Saturday. So I think, looking at the situation for Kylie Rae now, we just have to hope that Kylie Rae recovers soon and she's back in the ring soon and she's back on television soon. Hopefully she can get back in the ring and back on Impact Wrestling and back on the TV screens. Hopefully she comes back and it's just a blip and she's happier and healthier than ever. But look, to be honest, in the grand scheme of things here, we all love pro wrestling, right? We all love pro wrestling and we all love Impact Wrestling, and Impact Wrestling have been doing a fantastic job in 2020. Their television show has been stellar. The pay-per-view Saturday was good. The Slammiversary pay-per-view earlier this year was excellent. They've got so many exciting things coming in the future. You've got the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championships returning in 2021 at the Hard to Kill pay-per-view. All of this really exciting stuff is coming with Impact Wrestling, but let's be honest here. Deonna Purrazzo versus Kylie Rae, it would have been a fantastic match, and arguably it was maybe the sleeper match for the show, and everyone was really excited for it. Everyone was really excited for Kylie Rae versus Deonna Purrazzo. I know a lot of people ordered the pay-per-view specifically to watch that match, and everyone was really excited for it. But in the grand scheme of things here, in the grand scheme of things, people's health, people's mental health, and people's personal issues are far, far, far more important. And our sense as a fan, our sense of entertainment and desire to watch the match pales in comparison to the health and well-being of the performer. So I think you have to look at the positives in this very negative situation here. And the positives here is that Kylie Rae is physically okay. She's okay, she's alive and well. That's a positive here. I can imagine the stress, I can only imagine the stress and the concern that multiple people, Impact Wrestling officials, her friends, even her family members, I suppose, were going through on Saturday when, you know, think of the people backstage. They thought she was going to show up and she didn't. That's got to be incredibly concerning and incredibly worrying for everyone involved there. So I can imagine it was a very stressful and concerning environment and time Saturday for everyone backstage at Bound for Glory when they couldn't find her or get a hold of her. But on reflection, with the more details that are coming to light now, the more information that is coming to light, Impact Wrestling has, I think they've dealt with this the best way that they could. And hopefully Kylie Rae is back soon. Hopefully it's, I don't even want to say sooner rather than later, because I think the important thing here is that Kylie Rae is okay. The important thing is that she recovers well, and when she does eventually return, because she will, is that she's healthy and happy. So hopefully she returns soon, but hopefully we might get a few more details in the coming days. I'm sure we will, about what really is the situation here when it comes to Kylie Rae. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be sure to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys and chatting about pro wrestling here on the channel. If you have enjoyed the video, please do smash a like on the like button as well. It really does help us out here on YouTube. Go up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.